Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackmon.
Bending from the end zone, he throws, and it deflects away, and it is picked off by Will Blackmon, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs, it's covered in the end zone by Will Blackmon for a Green Bay touchdown!
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Rick Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Blackmon, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast network. I'm Rick Bucher. You can see me on FS1. You can read me on Bleacher Report. You can hear me on radio.com and various terrestrial intercom stations across the country. You can follow me on Twitter at Rick Bucher and on Instagram at Rick_Bucher. He is Will Blackmon, NFL vet, Super Bowl champ. You can see him on FS1. You can hear him on Fox Radio. And you can follow him both at Will Blackmon on Twitter and the NFL Wine Guy, where he's getting national attention on a level. Well, I'll start there, Will. We saw the piece in USA Today, talked about you becoming a wine connoisseur. Did you ever get a piece written about you on a national level to the scale as a player as you did to the scale of this, your alter ego, the NFL Wine Guy?
I mean, I played in National Football League, so every article was pretty much national.
Yeah, but like a feature piece that went into you to the level that this was all about you. Did you ever have a piece written? I don't know. Did you ever have a Sports Illustrated piece? Apologies that I don't know this. Did you ever have like a major magazine piece on you?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I had a couple.
Okay.
Actually, also I had one in Canada too.
Okay. So what was the piece about? You said a couple magazine pieces. Like Sports Illustrated did a piece on you.
No, Sports Illustrated did not do a piece on me.
USA Today, did they do a piece on you?
One about like my nutrition. That was one of them. Okay.
When you were still playing.
Yeah.
New York Times.
No. So here's the thing. A lot of people don't know. I don't know. I guess my journey or my story. You know, I get a lot of people saying you should write a book just about my whole career, what have you. But no, I haven't talked to a lot of people that would pretty much put it like this. I haven't shared it with anyone. Just my whole journey, what have you.
Got it.
It's worth a story. I'm a survivor of the NFL.
Right.
But no, it's not that serious to me.
Okay. No, I was just curious. It was sort of a backhanded way of complimenting you that you're getting the shine that you are as the NFL Wine Guy.
Well, Mike Jones, who wrote the piece, he pitched it, and he asked me about it, and I was like, sure, I said, at this time, I thought he was writing it for The Athletic, so he came out here and was like, wanted to go to the wine shop. I was at Wine Exchange, and we hung out at the shop, and he wrote about it, and then he told me a week later, like, hey, I'm going to release this story tomorrow. I'm like, all right, no problem. He wanted to make a few edits and fact check a few things. And so I woke up the next morning and my phone was just going off. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, dude, for this little article in The Athletic, like, why people hit me up? Come to find out. Yeah, exactly. Come to find out, it was not The Athletic. Gotcha. It was USA Today.
Gotcha.
And, no, it was cool.
Okay, so the Packers beat the Vikings. And happy holidays to you and yours and all of our listeners out there. Packers beat the Vikings 23-10. This is obviously a huge game as far as their division is concerned, playoffs, etc. We saw what we saw from Aaron Rodgers wasn't overwhelming. Their run game was great. Their defense was great. Kirk Cousins was underwhelming. And we've had this conversation before, but I just wonder at this stage, when you look at Aaron, let's start there. Aaron, on his best days, his peak, if that's a 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, Where do you put Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback at this point?
He's still a 10 to me.
No, but not a 10 as quarterbacks, a 10 for the ultimate Aaron Rodgers that we've seen. Are you saying that he's as good as he's ever been?
I think so. I mean, because when we saw the ultimate like MVP candidate type of Aaron Rodgers, look who he was throwing to.
True.
He had Greg Jennings, Pro Bowler. He had Donald Driver, Pro Bowler. He had James Jones, who led the league
Jordy
in
Nelson.
What touchdown receptions. Jordy Nelson, Pro Bowler. Jermichael Finley at the time was pretty good. And then Randall Cobb came in there. He had a plethora of guys, to throw to who he could make miraculous. At Jared Cook in there, he could make miraculous throws, put it in certain spots, and these guys will get it. Where now he, guys might not be open, guys may be covered, guys might, do this, guys won't be able to make these certain catches or understand, be on the same page as him mentally, So I think for what he's doing, only throwing, he threw his third pick today out of the whole season, and to win a division with not a gorgeous roster on offense.
Right.
You don't have Devontae Adams from part of the season. Obviously, big help is Aaron Jones has emerged. Has played fantastic. Second in touchdowns. I think he's tied for first now with Christian McCaffrey. But yeah, I think for he has done his job in terms of getting the new head coach and making it work. Speaking
of which, what's the influence or the impact that you've seen of Matt LeFleur versus Mike McCarthy?
I think the time just ran its course with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's not a bad coach, man. I just think in due time they were just kind of over it,
He's interviewing, by the way, I think with the Carolina Panthers. What do you make of that?
Yeah, he has. No, I mean Mike belongs in the league. I feel like there are more, a lot of coaches in the NFL that don't do a great job in terms of being a leader of men. There's a lot of coaches that deserve to be in the NFL, and Coach McCarthy is one of them. I saw the piece that Tom Pelissero did on what Coach McCarthy, where he has his own little team that he's watching film with. I think Coach Haslam was in there, who used to be with the Redskins, and they break down film, they create game plans and playbooks, and he's staying at work. And at the end of the day, he was like, my family needs football. I need football. So.
Right. Well, this is not a referendum on McCarthy. I'm just wondering, when you look at Green Bay, do you see the influence of LeFleur? And if so, what is it?
I think LeFleur is just pulling out plays that work in Aaron Rodgers' favor. Like he's
such
catering just getting the ball out quick in certain quick routes, and he's also adapting the offense to the type of receivers they have. I feel like they are keeping it very, very simple in terms of making sure guys know what to do or are in the right spot. So because at the end of the day, man, it's just as long as everyone's on the same page with Aaron Rodgers, then it's all good.
Correct
and
me.
You can see some throws that are. Some passes that are dropped and certain routes that are ran wrong, or if no one's open, you can see his frustration a little bit with Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's because he's so used to guys, like I said, like Greg Jennings, who just knew where to be. Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, they knew where to be. And I think of Randall Cobb too. He kind of did it last night with Dak Prescott. There was that one drive where it was Randall Cobb nonstop.
Right.
He knows how to work the defense.
Right. On the other side of the ledger, Kirk Cousins. Now, he's a former teammate of yours.
Come on, Kirk.
Yeah. It's funny because I think you've been honest about him, which isn't always easy when you're talking about a former teammate. But I also have felt like you were rooting for Kirk to overcome the image or the reputation that he has. And obviously losing again on Monday night, he's never won on Monday night. I think I've made my feelings clear about. I think he's a huge success for a fifth-round pick to be paid $30 million a year But do I think that he's a $30 million a year quarterback? No. I think that was a mistake
he's a good,
by the Vikings.
He's a good football player. He's a really good football player, but he's not elite.
Right, exactly. And we saw
because
that.
Elite status is more than just stats.
Right.
It's key moment. That's why, like, this sounds blasphemous, but they're doing these top 100 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, however many they pick. And I know Dan Marino's going to be in there.
You don't think he deserves to be in there?
Oh, he does. He does.
Okay, so what's blasphemous?
Because I'm talking about Dan the man.
Yeah.
What he has one MVP,
right?
No rings.
Right.
I know he had all the records.
Yeah. This is the problem that I have with the 100 greatest players ever. You can't compare the 60s to the 90s or the 2000s because it's going to go one of two ways. You're either bringing in a guy from the 60s because you feel obligated to recognize that era, and then he becomes sort of a token player, and you're probably not doing justice to the number of guys in the 60s who were as good as that guy or close. Like, you're picking one to represent. And at the same time, you're leaving somebody out of this era, like a Charles Woodson, for example, that by all rights, if you compared him to, like, if you go across the board, how do you leave a Charles Woodson off? I just believe it's an exercise that does not work because you're comparing apples, oranges, and pears. The game, we've seen it in the NBA and the NFL. Look at the NFL, the way the game's played now versus 10 years ago. It's changed dramatically. The NBA changed dramatically. The number of teams that got 30% or more from their three-point shooting, from their three-point scoring 5 years ago, there were only two teams, the Warriors and the Rockets. This year, there are 13, nearly half the league. Now you're telling that, that changes the whole game. The way the NFL is played today with the protection that quarterbacks have changes the game.
Well, even back then, linemen were like 220.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying they're totally different games. So to judge, by position from era to era, you're going to screw somebody over who's deserving to be recognized.
Yeah, Charles Wilson got screwed.
Yeah, friend of the program. But Kirk Cousins is not getting screwed. Kirk Cousins making $30 million a year. Kirk Cousins is doing okay, and I don't begrudge him that he's getting that money. He played it
right, though. He played it right. He kept signing he kept signing that tag.
Yep.
And then when he became a free agent, he was the only guy available.
Yep. No, I'm not blaming Kirk. I blame the Vikings.
No, I know you're not. Or just the game.
Well, no, but if the Vikings, if you spend too much on any player in any position in any sport, you're going to pay a price, especially in the sports that have salary caps. That's just the reality. You only have so much to go around.
Yeah, no, it was interesting when they went with him over Case Keenum.
Yep.
Because it's like, are you really getting that much of a different quarterback?
Yep.
Yep. Now, at least they're in the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, but come on, where they were when they signed.
At least they're in the playoffs right now.
Where did Keenum take them? Keenum took them into the playoffs.
No.
And then
I'm not comparing. I'm saying at least they're in the postseason right now.
No, I get that, but what I'm saying is you had a good enough team with Case Keenum to do this. The idea that you were signing Cousins was he was going to take you anymore. He was going to take you to a Super Bowl.
I'm not talking about Case Keenum anymore. I'm just saying, like, despite I know Kurt's getting paid all this money and what have you, at least they still have a chance. You know what I'm saying? At least they're in the postseason. It's not like he's getting paid all this and they're not in the playoffs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
That falls under the heading of damning with faint praise.
Sure.
All right, so I want to get to there's a couple other topics I want to get to. Marshawn Lynch is coming back for the Seahawks. Everybody's excited about the energy that he might create. I don't know. I'm wary of making too much of a deal about this. If Marshawn Lynch was in prime, not shape, but prime ability, I feel as if he's the one guy where maybe he wasn't playing. Maybe this was his plan all along. I don't want to play a whole season. I just want to come in. I want to come in at the end. I'll play some games. I'll play when it matters. But I almost get the sense that people think, oh, it's going to be beast mode and we're going to be back to that. And Chris Carson was so good, and he's out for the season now with a fractured hip. I don't know that beast mode is going to be better than Chris Carson. I feel as if people are playing this as if he's a able substitute or maybe even better, and I'm not buying that.
Well, at the end of the day, Marshawn, can you get us 4 to 5 yards a pop?
Yeah. No, he can't. At this stage, no, he can't.
At what stage?
He can't. Because he wasn't doing that when we last saw him. He wasn't doing that with the Raiders.
All right. And they signed Robin Turbin too.
Okay.
So they pretty much got the 2013 backfield back together.
And what is it? It's 2019. We're 6 years later.
Okay.
Are you trying? See, you're trying to sell me the same thing everybody else is.
I'm not like hyped up and like crazy, but it's like they know who they got.
Yeah.
They know what it is.
Yeah. And they knew who they had, and they were willing to move on.
He's more reliable than if they go into the pool and like, hey, let's do that. But can you get us 4 to 5 yards apart? Marshawn averages 4 yards in his career.
No, he can't.
He averaged 4 last year, 4.2 last year. Okay? He can.
Did he really?
You're out of your mind. Yes.
Well, I gotta look.
Here's the one attribute that he pretty much averaged 4 yards when he was in Oakland. 4.3 yards he averaged in Oakland. Here's the attribute that people do not understand: his vision and his footwork. He doesn't need to burst through and run a 4.3 to get 4 to 5 yards. He sets up his blocks. He's more patient than most backs. Guys like Le'Veon Bell, guys like Frank Gore. That's why Frank Gore's still playing.
Yeah. No, Frank's
because
impressive.
Frank Gore understands how to set up his blocks. He has great feet.
Is this
so if Frank Gore is out there getting it done still, Marshawn is definitely more than capable.
Well, this is my caveat for Marshawn is that
guess what Frank Gore averages? 4.3. Guess what Marshawn averages in his career? 4.3. Same type of runners. I'm talking career.
He only played six games. He only played 6 games last year.
Okay, what about the year before that?
He played 15. I'm not talking about the year before that.
Okay, but still, that's his average. What?
Yeah, but I feel as if
that's all they need.
I may be wrong on this.
Can you run the offense, get 4 or 5 yards? Can you protect the QB? Can you catch the ball at the backfield? Yeah, Russell's going to make it happen. Russell's going to play with anybody, but you bring somebody back. And it's different. He's different. Every year, everyone's like, "Oh, Adrian Peterson, don't know what we're gonna get out of him." Boom, he takes you to the house for like 80 yards. Dude's the same age as my dad. Gone.
Okay, I still. Are you telling me he can be as good as? And now I gotta look up Chris Carson's because I don't know. I just watching him run. Chris Carson brought something else to that offense. The other part is this, and this is the caveat for me. Like, so Frank wants to play and is going to play until the wheels fall off. I feel like Marshawn only wants to play in situations that he wants to play in. Like he wouldn't go to Buffalo to play just to continue playing. If it's on the West Coast, if it's Seattle, if it's Oakland where he's from, okay, I'll play. I'm not going to Jacksonville just to draw a paycheck and continue to run. I feel as if maybe that's why Marshawn wasn't in the league to this point. It was more by his choice than there was a lack of interest.
Yeah, I'm sure that, there's been talk here and there, but of course, if you're gonna come back, let it be a contender. You're not gonna come back just to play.
Right. So Carson averaging 4.4. So Marshawn has to average what he's been averaging in order to match what Carson has.
Thank you, and that's done easily. Done.
We'll see. Well, I just maybe I'm being, I don't know. I might be being skeptical. That's fair. All right.
You're being okay, Boomer.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm being. Well said. All right. I saved the best for last. Really curious about your take on this. Isaiah Thomas is getting flipped off by 76ers fans. This is what's unique. 76ers fans in 76ers jerseys in Philadelphia. He's getting flipped off. And he goes up in the stands and he has a conversation with them about being respectful. There was no altercation, but he did engage them. He was tossed from the game. He's now been given a 2-game suspension on top of it. And the fans have been banned for a year from 76ers games. I'll just throw it wide open to you on this. How do you feel? Do you think justice was served?
In terms of him being suspended?
In terms of the whole thing. Fans being kicked out for a year, can't come to a game for a year. And by the way, the Sixers fans' explanation was if he missed the 2 free throws, they got a free Frosty.
Right. No, I think the fan, should have been banned and suspended.
For a year.
For a year.
For double birds. For double birds.
For double birds. Absolutely. And
Why?
the reason is it's like in traffic, when people cut you off and think they're brave. So, for example, I was in Hollywood the other day, right? I was actually in Sherman Oaks. I did the radio show. And I'm driving to meet my buddy at his wine bar, Augustine Wine Bar it's called. And I pull up to this lane. I'm trying to merge over, and this lady just flies by me and lays on her horn. Just, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. You know what?
So
women do that. I've seen women do that more often than men lately.
Listen, so I continue to drive, and lo and behold, guess what? We're side by side at a stoplight.
Oh.
So I just happened to turn over and look.
Yeah.
Her eyes were straight the whole time.
She wanted no part of Will Blackmon.
Look who's at the stoplight. Yes.
So all of her speeding didn't get her anywhere either.
It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We just end up side by side. You're gonna land your horn and fly by me and stare me down like I did something wrong. And now look at us. Here we are.
So you didn't do anything? You didn't tap your horn a little bit? Just let her know?
I didn't have to. I thought my presence was enough. But my point is, that's how people are so brave, whether in their car or in the stands. They feel like they're untouchable, like nothing can happen. They can do whatever they want to do.
Okay, so should she be banned from driving for a year?
No, because we're in public. This is not a it's not a professional event. This is us in the streets of LA. Every man for himself.
Every man and woman. Look, they were trying to get fraud. Have you seen fans when they're giving anything away from free? It always blows my mind. People spend $200 on a ticket for a seat, and they're throwing a $9 T-shirt into the stands, and people are ready to slug each other for that freaking free T-shirt. I'm like, you know what? Why not spend the $200 and you can buy yourself 10 of those T-shirts? What's the deal?
10 of them. They don't want 10 T-shirts.
But this is my point, though. If you're spending $200 on a ticket, what's the extra? You clearly have a few bucks. You have some disposable income. The T-shirt is going to make you go nuts. And this is the same with the Frosties. It's human nature. I want to get the Frosty. People will act aberrant. I can't help. a year seems to me excessive. And I understand the rule, as they called it in the release by the NBA, the bright line that players are not supposed to go into the stands. But I thought that the way Isaiah did it
doesn't matter.
Doesn't
matter.
Why doesn't it matter? I think it matters. I think having these conversations,
don't go in there. Period. His approach. Listen.
So let's say
everything he did ethic wise was right. He approached him like a gentleman.
Okay,
He was professional about it.
Right.
He did all those things, and yes, he talked to him like an adult.
Right.
All good. Violated as soon as he walked in the stands.
Okay.
Just based on the NBA, there's no gray area. It's like, don't go in there.
So here's my thing: if he
went in there and approached him like a man and talked to him like he did as an adult and was calm, and if that dude just slugged him, whose fault is it? The rule says
it's the fans' fault.
The rule says don't go in there.
Yeah, you can't. But if you're going to go up and you're having a civil conversation with somebody and they decide to punch you, it's your fault?
Ever since the malice, it's like, okay, let's protect the fan and the player. So if Isaiah went in there, I was like, hey, man, what's your deal? Listen, you don't need to say this stuff. And if the dude just socked Isaiah.
Here's the difficulty that I have.
And then the NBA would have been like, well, the rules say don't go in there.
Here's the difficulty that I have. If Isaiah doesn't go into the stands, then those fans aren't banned for a year.
You point them out. You can still point them out.
Do you think that even if they were pointed out, they would have been banned for a year?
Who knows?
I think I know. It's the fact that we don't know. The fact that you
think you know means you don't know.
That's right. We don't know. Which means there's no bright line when it comes to how the fans were handled. For me, it has to be one way or the other.
You got video of the guy flipping the bird. You can find that.
You know what? I bet you can find video if you really want to go that far. You can find video of a lot of people saying and doing a lot of things, trying to get that free Frosty. And you might have got him. Do we have videotape of the people in the upper stands?
We're not talking about everybody. We're talking about that one particular situation where Isaiah was like, hey, this dude right here is being disrespectful, as opposed to him going in the stands.
I get that.
I'm for him. I'm for him. I'm on Isaiah's side. I don't think he should have, but I'm just saying, ever since the malice, they're like, the rules are don't go in there. And if he was up there, it's like, yo, this dude's being absolutely unreal right now, then they would handle it.
I feel as if there's a divide greater than ever before between players and fans. And by creating this false barrier, especially when it comes to basketball, because, look, football, you got to climb up into the stand. It's difficult to get there. Baseball, it's difficult to get there. There's natural separation between the fans and the athletes on the field. There's 20, 30 yards from the stands to the actual field. When it comes to basketball, it's a matter of feet between the fans and the court. It's wide open. It's easy access to guys fall into the stands, run up into the stands, chasing a loose ball, a rebound, whatever. Happens all the time. I feel as if the relationship between fans and players has deteriorated, and it's become a hate fest going both ways. The players are resentful of the fans, not just because of their behavior in the arenas, but because of social media and everything that they see and hear on Twitter and whatnot. And the flip side is fans are more emboldened to act in ways like this, that insulting, abrasive ways that they wouldn't if they were going to be, if they realized that they could potentially be confronted the way Isaiah Thomas confronted this fan. So there's a part of me that appreciates that Isaiah was able to go up there in a manner and have a conversation and present himself to those fans as a human being and have them go, I'm sorry, man, I was just trying to get a Frosty. And then it makes the fan look like an idiot. Really? You're going to do all that to another human being just so you can get a free freaking Frosty. And so it bothers me that Isaiah is, okay, you know what? Throw him out for that game. But you're at like a 2-game suspension. You're suspending him beyond this. Is the message almost is, we don't care what you do. That was bad all the way around. Now, if he had gotten into a contentious argument or whatever, it got physical, I'm 100% there. But this wasn't the malice in the palace. This was it was the opposite of that. It was, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what you're doing. And I just have a hard time.
I hear you.
I have a hard time saying that's the wrong thing to do. I think there needs to be more of that between players and fans.
There's nothing wrong with the confronting. It was just that don't go in the stands. Period. Don't go over there.
All right. So how do we? So you point. I guarantee you this, because I think we've seen Russ Westbrook do this. He points out the fans. He points out the fans, and now he's a sensitive little bee because he's having security take care of it.
Go be a man and take that 2 game. It's so funny because it's interesting in the NFL. Like Marcus Peters last year confronted a fan in the stands.
Yeah,
he said, "Talk that bleep now."
Yeah.
But
that's different.
Happened.
That's different.
No. He went to stands and went after, but nothing happened. However, this year, he does the Lambeau leap and shotguns a beer and gets hit with $14,000.
You think that's right?
No.
Okay. So
I just think it's interesting.
So you think that's not fair, but the punishment for Isaiah Thomas is fair?
I don't think it's fair at all. I'm just saying I see why they did it. I don't think he should have been suspended at all.
At all.
I think what he did was very professional. And he said he went up there and talked to the guy, wasn't over there being all extra and dramatic and angry and hostile.
Right.
I like what he did, and I don't think he should have been suspended, but I see why he was suspended.
You know, maybe I just realized, it just flashed on me. So I was on ESPN Radio. You can find it in my I think you can still find it in my Wikipedia, on my Wikipedia page. It was,
you got a Wikipedia?
07, 08, and I was on Scott Van Velt's radio show, ESPN Radio, and he asked me about Jazz fans, and I said they're the most vicious, and it struck me because I had just been there, and I got picked up. I think it was a shuttle to the hotel, and the guy driving was like so friendly and smiling and welcoming. And then I got to the hotel and they were friendly and smiling and welcoming, like over the top, like just like, wow, this is like, you know, I mean, people, there's hospitality, and then there's being like, hey, we're so happy to see you. And I felt like that's what I was getting. And then I went to the game and people are saying the most vicious, rude, and racist stuff. Like it was really, really ugly stuff. And I did a radio hit shortly thereafter, and I said, I don't know what it is, but you know, they're friendly, and then it's like they go into the arena, and the mistake I made is I didn't say Jazz fans, I said Mormons. And while, you know, Jazz fans may be 70-80% Mormon, the fact is painting it in a religious view was my mistake, and I owned up to it. Should have said Jazz fans. But I basically said, you know, this is their one opportunity to be, they're nice all the time, and then this is their one opportunity to be really rude and vicious, and they don't miss out on it. And I got a lot of blowback for that, including every time subsequent I would go to Utah, to Salt Lake, and I would go to a game. And I was there doing, I don't know if I was doing sideline or I was just reporting, but I was there and I was standing courtside, and there was two guys up in the stands, and they were just screaming at me, letting me have it. About, I hate Mormons and et cetera, Bucher, da-da-da-da. So I walked over to the stands, and I called them down, and I said, guys, what's up? I go, I apologize for that. I'm not going to take back. I mean, you're kind of proving my point in terms of how vicious you guys can be. I go, but it's not personal for me. It's my observation. And I apologized for the Mormon comment. So, like, if you guys have an issue with me, let's talk about it. But you screaming from the stands and telling me,
you started it.
I'm this terrible person.
You started it.
I may have, but this ain't solving it. Them yelling from there down to me is not solving it.
That's not even the same situation, Rick.
Well, it's not the same situation, but I'm saying my reason for telling that story is that's what makes me sensitive to what Isaiah Thomas did. Because I feel like Isaiah Thomas, and look, for me, my blood was boiling when these guys are yelling at me. Like, I want to go back at them. But I thought, you know what? That's not going to resolve this. So let me.
Yeah, especially when you started it.
You're just not going to let go of that, are you? Just not going to let go of that.
But you did.
I did, and I apologized for it. And so what? We can't move on? That's going to be my scarlet letter for the rest of my life.
They couldn't wait to see you. Are you kidding me?
You're right.
They could not wait to see you after what you said. Apology or not, they were like, "Where is Rick Bucher? We're gonna let him have it."
Right.
That's exactly what happened.
Right.
You kidding me?
And so
unless you
that's
walk
all.
Into the middle
you think
of the,
I had it coming?
Unless you walk into the middle of the court with the microphone, was like, "Listen, my fellow Mormons, I sincerely apologize. Please forgive me." No. Because not everyone heard your apology. They heard that, and they probably clicked the radio right off.
No, it was a national statement. We put out a press release. It was
going to light him up. Still going to get lit up.
You're being facetious now. We're going to leave it at that. You know what? You're ruining my holiday spirit now. I want goodwill to men.
You shouldn't let anybody ruin your holiday spirit. I remember when I was with my aunt, and I was like, man, that person bugs me. She was like, why do they bug you? I was like, no, something about their energy. She goes, did they do anything directly to you? It's like, no. So why do they bug you? You shouldn't let anybody ruin your spirit.
Okay.
So I'm going to take what my aunt said and tell you, don't let me bug you. Don't let me ruin your holiday spirit.
Don't let you ruin my spirit. That's what you're telling me. You know what?
Yeah.
Done. I'm taking your aunt's advice. I'm not letting you ruin my spirit. I'm going to have a great Christmas.
You already let me ruin it. So
nope.
Ham or turkey, by the way.
Nope. Turkey.
All right.
All the way. Actually, you know what we had tonight? Because we're West Coast. We had crab. We got like a dozen huge.
Why is that West Coast?
Crabs. Because I don't know. The season just started right here. I don't know if the season started back on the East Coast. Did it? Is this?
Scallop? We're doing scallops tomorrow.
Ooh, that's nice.
Christmas Eve.
But what's the crab season in Rhode Island?
No idea. It's always crab season.
I don't think that's true, but I don't know any better, so you may be right. All right.
We just dry freeze all the good stuff.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that. No, dude. Dry freezing. Stop. Okay. The NFL wine guy is in his cups right now, so we're going to let him go and enjoy the holiday. All right, that does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackmon. If you are enjoying the show, or even if you aren't, please rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Send us a screenshot of that review to @BucherFriends, and you'll be eligible to win some prizes. I do want to say on behalf of Will and myself, we're really appreciative of all of you guys out there listening on a weekly basis. We appreciate the support. We got some big and bitter things happening in 2020. We'll have a couple more podcasts before we turn into the first of the year, but this is probably the last time Will and I are going to be doing one in 2019. So we wish you all a safe and happy holiday. You have anything, Will, for our listeners out there? You have any message of goodwill or good tidings?
I don't.
Okay, there you have it. So it's basically
my favorite
speaking on
Christmas movie is The Grinch. Therefore, I don't.
Okay, there you go. That's Will Blackmon. All right. As always, in the meantime, thanks for listening.